Hello, and welcome in to another Civ 6 video here on the Madish Moose YouTube channel. Very excited to be talking about Spain today. We finished up our Spain game on stream over at twitch.tv/MadishMoose. We play Civ 6 on Monday nights, so we've been rolling through that game for a while. We were going for a religious victory. Now, Spain was a lot of fun to play. So in this video, what I'd like to go through is what specifically makes Spain fun to play and how that's pretty circumstantial, but also incredibly powerful. And so I'll take you through how our game went and how we were able to get a turn 215 victory on Deity in Civ 6 playing Spain, going for the religious victory. It was a fun game. Let's jump into it, and I want to talk about exactly what makes Spain so fun to play. So, right away, what you will notice is we have some really great faith yields up at the top. This is the end of the game, right? So the game is over. We just won on turn 215, so this is the turn after that, the one more turn, if you will, turn 216. We're generating almost 1,000 faith per turn. Now, you'll remember in our Norway game, which was also up on the YouTube channel, we were generating substantially more faith per turn with Norway. So once you get up into this range of faith generation, you pretty much have the ability to sustain a religious victory, even on Deity, if you've set yourself up appropriately. So I want to walk you through how our game went and how we were able to get to this point. Because this game did not go as planned from the get-go, which was kind of fun. It was really our first game at the Deity level that didn't go the way we intended it to go. We actually lost our capital of Moostrid sometime early in the game to the Khmer. So the Khmer were over here. This was all their land. They were actually winning the game early on by a substantial amount. Now, they went to war with us, actually took our capital at one point. We were able to swing it back into our favor because we were playing with heroes. Thank goodness, because we were able to get a couple of heroes out, swing the battle back into our favor, even though they had a substantial tech lead on us, and take our capital back. And then we actually turned the war over on them, which is typically what you want to do in a Deity level game. Flip the war back in your favor. They'll throw all their units at you, right? So they kept throwing units at my capital, which we got when we got it back, we put the walls in and everything. And then once they were depleted of their units, we came back through and ran kind of a long-term war against them, taking over a lot of really nice cities that they had already built, including some pretty nice wonders that they had put in that boosted our faith, like Jebel Barkal. And then we ended up taking their capital as well over here. And then a lot of these just ended up flipping to us on loyalty pressure alone. So that was the war part of the game. That's how that went. What that allowed us to actually do is we actually took a Dark Age, I believe in the Second Age, and then we swung that into a Heroic, which means we got to pick 3 of the bonuses in the next age, and that propelled us into some excellent expansion, and we were able to take over our entire continent over here. So here's what I want to show you about Spain. Let's read about Spain, and then I'll show you exactly why this start was the perfect start for Spain. So I know my head will be in the way for part of this. It's actually in the way for the most important part, but I will read it to you, and we'll talk a little bit about each of these. So El Escatorial. Inquisitors can remove heresy 1 extra time. Inquisitors eliminate 100% of the presence of other religions. Combat and religious units have a +5 combat strength bonus against players following other religions. So if you're running a war or a religious invasion into another civ that's following a different religion than yours, you get a +5 bonus in combat strength, both to your combat units and your religious units. This helped us immensely against Jay. When Jay came in and attacked us, we were able to obviously have those bonuses in play, which was very important. It also helped us throughout the game as we were initiating our apostle push into each of the different religious territories. Treasure Fleet may form fleets and armadas with mercantilism instead of nationalism and mobilization, so it just lets you make fleets and armadas sooner. And then here's the big one with Treasure Fleet. Trade routes receive +3 gold, +2 faith, and +1 production. That's a lot. Trade routes between multiple continents receive triple these numbers. Cities not on your original capital's continent receive a 25% production bonus towards districts and a builder when founded. Treasure Fleet is immensely powerful if you get the right spawn, okay? Triple numbers to trade routes, and the trade route numbers are already decent for Spain if you're on a different continent. Plus 25% production towards districts, which is actually huge, and a builder, a free builder when you found the city. So let's look at that really quick, and let's look at the game that we played. I'll zoom us out. Moostrid is the exact spot where our settlers started, okay? We settled in place for our capital. Let's look at the continent split here that we settled on. Look at this. We settled right here on the continent of Panotia, okay? We settled here, and then obviously we knew that the continent of Atlantis was right here. So all our plan was settle everything in the purple. Settle Atlantis. So that's what we did. We settled, obviously you can see we were settling everything on the border, and that got us all the bonuses. We got a free builder in every one of those cities, which compounds with Ancestral Hall in your government plaza. So you could get 2 free builders, plus if you got the cards in, you're ending up with almost, I think it's 10 actually, 10 builds on a city once you get out to feudalism and you can get serfdom in and things like that, right? So you've got big potential just in builders alone, plus your districts are coming out 25% faster in all of these cities. It was absolutely amazing. And then don't forget, you're also running trade routes to those cities. So if you look at our trade route overview, right, look at the yields. This is Moostrid, right, to Murica. Really close trade route, very fast, but it's on a different continent. So we're getting 3 food, 6 production, 13 gold, and 7 faith out of an internal trade route. And that was a trade route that we could run the first trade route of the game. So in the long term, this might be like, well, this is not as good as, say, like, what if you just ran this trade route down here to J, plus 4 production, 19 gold, a science, a culture, and 8 faith. That's actually a little bit better, right? Arguably, like you would probably run this instead. However, if you think about the fact that your first trade route you send of the game, these were the numbers. We were doing this for our first trade route of the game. That generates so much early production, early food, early gold, and early faith. It can get you off to an amazing start. So we can run internal trade routes and get just amazing numbers out of it, right? And so that was a huge thing for us as we were doing those things. All right, let's keep looking at Phillip. Conquistador. Spanish unique Renaissance unit that replaces the musketman. Plus 10 combat strength when there is a religious unit within 1 hex. If this unit captures a city or is adjacent to a city when it is captured, the city will automatically adopt the Conquistador player's religion as the dominant religion. The religion part of that is kind of okay, because, you know, it becomes easy to, when you're running a war, they just get your religion when you're done taking over a city. Most of the time, you can get them pretty quickly just with passive religious pressure and a couple of missionaries or apostles anyway, so I don't think that's a huge deal. However, plus 10 combat strength when there's a religious unit within 1 hex. Again, you have to produce a religious unit, but the ability to do so makes your units incredibly powerful. So I'll take you back to our war. When we first made our push over to what the city that was Angkor Wat, which is now Angkor Y, we were behind in techs to J, to the Khmer. So they had better units than ours. They were literally a whole era unit better than us. But we were actually able to, once we hit Conquistadors, we were able to make that push with the help of some heroes and actually sustain those battles because we had plus 10 combat strength from our Conquistadors that were in line with our religious units. We had plus 5 combat strength from the fact that he was following his religion still, right, which is the other thing up at the top, right, El Escatorial. That's plus 15 combat strength to our Conquistadors. Pretty powerful, right? So we were actually able to come across, and the Conquistadors successfully were able to win us a fight. Even though we were a technology behind in military units, we were able to come through and be successful with our Conquistadors. Very powerful unit when used appropriately, for sure. We started to fall behind in the war when he started to convert to our religion. It was the unfortunate thing, right? We lost that +5 because all of his cities started converting to us religiously, and so then we ended up struggling a little bit towards the end. But we still pulled off the capital capture. It took us a little bit, and definitely we had to use heroes for that. And then obviously we started flipping all these other cities that just kind of came along with that. But a very powerful unit, the Conquistador, when timed correctly and used with your religious units. All right. One of my favorite things about the Spanish, the treasure fleet and the trade routes were very, very impressive. The mission as a unique building is amazing. Again, fully situational, just like treasure fleet and the trade routes. The mission is fully situational on the continent split. You have to be on a continent split or find a continent split as Spain to make Spain great. Okay, Spain is good, but Spain is great, like way beyond great when you find a continent split as your start. Here's the mission text. Unlocks the builder ability to construct a mission unique to Spain. +2 faith. That's the mission. It's just +2 faith until you settle on a different continent. An additional +2 faith, +1 production, and +1 food if on a different continent than your capital. And +1 science for every adjacent campus and holy site district, and an additional science after cultural heritage is discovered. And then if you care about loyalty, +2 loyalty per turn for cities with a mission improvement adjacent to the city center and not on your capital's original continent. That actually can be very helpful, let's say in a very large map game where you're trying to do a little bit of cross-ocean settling or something like that. You could put a city down that might have some loyalty trouble, plop a mission down, and help increase that loyalty in the city with a mission as well. Probably not like a primary use of it, but let's look at some tiles in our territory to show how potent the mission is. This is my best example. Remember, our continent split runs like so. Moostrid is our original capital. All of the cities that we settled, again, we took over some over here, but all the cities we settled are on a different continent. So every tile that we could build a mission on essentially looks like this. Here's a good example. Here's a campus that we then surrounded with missions. Now you might say, well, why didn't you put some districts around that campus? Well, because districts only have minor adjacency bonuses to campuses. And as long as you're working all of these tiles, which this city is, then you actually get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 science, which is a +6 bonus, which you cannot get via district adjacencies. So just build a campus, surround it with missions, and you're off and running with excellent science, as well as the +4 faith that you're getting off of each of those tiles. And additionally, you're not even going to take a food or production hit on those tiles either, because we're still getting 2 production and 2 food out of these tiles. Some of the tiles we're even getting +3 food out of because of the base tile. It's so powerful. These missions are one of my favorite buildings in the game, but they are situational, so you just have to be careful. The missions, and I can show you the missions if they're on your place, right? Like here's a mission not on a different continent, right? We're still getting the +1 science because we're adjacent to a campus, right? But now we're only getting the +2 faith. So it's not +4, and we're not getting the extra food, and we're not getting the extra production, right? So these tiles could be so much better if they were not on our starting continent. So missions that are not on your starting continent, incredible. And you'll see, just throughout our whole place, we just plopped these down, right? Like, look at this one. Because it's adjacent to 2 holy sites, 2 food, 3 production, 4 faith, and now we're getting 2 science because of our adjacencies to our holy sites. It's such a powerful building, and you literally just start placing it everywhere. It's super fun to play with the missions. Definitely, if you hit a continent split, get missions everywhere. They are, unless you need housing. If you need housing, put farms down and try to look for those farm triangles. But if you don't need housing in a city, plump missions absolutely everywhere. It's pretty cool. All right, the last thing I want to talk about in this video is how we actually got the victory, how we got the religious victory, right? So let's take a look at our religion really quickly. Our religion in this game was the Sacred Turks! And what we were able to do is something fun, because I've never picked this before. I actually don't see this picked very often, but we picked the Pantheon Fire Goddess. +2 faith from geothermal fissures and volcanic soil. So let's quickly take a look. Here's our capital. We had one, and there was another one down here, and there's another one up in here somewhere, right here, right? I saw a bunch of geothermals right away. We also have another volcano here and another volcano here. So if you look at our geothermals, we get faith out of those right away. Plus, we're putting our campuses adjacent to them, of course, to get the bonuses and things like that. So we knew we were going to be working around those. And then, if you look at the volcanic soil, we're also getting our faith bonuses out of all of our volcanic soil pals here, right? Once the volcano had exploded and made all of these volcanic, we're now getting 2 faith out of all of our volcanic soil. It just was super fun to actually get to use Fire Goddess, and it actually, I think, worked out really well. We were able to sustain faith without having to focus it very hard, and so that was pretty fun for our religion. We took work ethic because, honestly, why wouldn't you? We got some pretty good adjacency bonuses, and it provided production, and I think work ethic is just very powerful. There are other really great beliefs as well, but work ethic is a really fun one, especially if you don't want to have to put in a lot of work on production. This one's great. Mosque, I think, is one of the central keys to winning a religious victory. Missionaries and apostles +1 spread. You're going to get plus faith from all these buildings. The extra spread in your missionaries and apostles, huge when it comes to converting other civs to your faith. This was one of our best choices. One of the reasons why we won this game a lot faster than we won our Norway game when we went for a religious victory, even though in the Norway game we were producing a lot more faith, is that we had missionary zeal. Religious units ignore movement costs of terrain and features. You can move your missionaries and apostles across the land much, much faster this way. And so we were able to just move more quickly when we started making our conversions. Missionary zeal was definitely a very potent choice in winning a religious victory. We took tithe because tithe is good for gold, and gold is fun to have. And so tithe was just the decision we made there. But all in all, these were really fun choices. Missionary zeal, definitely an important one. Here is how good we ended up with our apostles being. So if we go to our Moksha city over here, we have our holy site, which is right here, and we see that we have a mosque in that holy site, which means we also get +1 from that. We also built Hagia Sophia, so we're getting plus from that, and we've got Moksha. So if we go in here and purchase an apostle, which our apostles are very expensive now, if we come in here and purchase an apostle, okay, let's take a look at what this apostle looks like when we buy it. This is a 5 spread apostle. 5 spreads, just baseline 5 spreads. It has 2 promotions that we will get to choose in future turns, right? And so it's just, when you get all of those things together and you get your extra spreads and then you get your promotions, the one thing that could have made this better is if Yerevan would have been in the game, because Yerevan actually allows you to choose your promotions, which would have allowed us to optimize all of our apostles. But when you're making faith at this speed, and you could just actually crank out missionaries that also come with 5 charges, 5 spreads to be able to do, pretty impressive. Now, we also almost lost our religion at the beginning of this game, but thanks to the very first ability, Inquisitors remove heresy in extra time, and they eliminate 100% of the presence of other religions. We actually were able to save our religion using our Inquisitors, which was pretty cool because that made it very much a Spain game. The other wonder that's really important to look at is Mahabodhi Temple. Always make sure you're beelining or going as quickly as you can to Mahabodhi, because it's a very powerful early game wonder that will get you 2 apostles right off the bat. You can use that to evangelize, to Inquisition, or to spread early. That's a very powerful wonder as well. But overall, very, very fun time playing Spain. Again, the big thing to look for in your Spain games, do you have a continent split that looks nice to be able to take advantage of? Because if you do, you are going to be able to put these missions down that look like this. You're going to be able to run trade routes that get triple yields, and you're going to be able to do a lot of fun things. Now, is religious victory the only way to win as Spain? Certainly not. You could certainly go a science route, because you actually do want to build campuses to get your adjacencies for your missions. So that could be, science could be definitely a route to go. Work ethic would then be a very good choice for your religion. Domination is a very popular route to take with Spain because of all of the bonuses to combat strength that your units receive. So you could also run a domination game. Probably culture and diplomacy is where Spain maybe isn't a strong suited, but again, when you're getting the production you're going to get out of your cities that are off-continent, you're going to be able to do amazing things. Oh, that reminds me. Don't forget to build Casa, because Casa also gets you bonuses for cities on other continents. So there are quite a few wonders that kind of play into the hands of Spain to make Spain even better than it might otherwise be. With that, I want to thank you for tuning into the video. If you're going to play a Spain game, I hope this was helpful for you in Civ 6. Again, find a continent split, exploit everything, put missions down, run trade routes, and you're going to be successful in whatever victory type you choose with Spain if you can get on that continent split. Thank you for watching the video. If you liked the content, please feel free to hit the thumbs up button, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Lots of Civ 6 content as well as Humankind coming in the following weeks. I usually post videos on Sunday afternoons. Thank you for tuning into the video, and I will see you next week.